How's it going, my friend? Sorry I'm late here. I just ran into the door. I just got back from seeing Pixar. Well, Disney also. It's really Pixar. Their new movie, Inside Out 2. It was like a 462 out of 10. Like, everything that I care so much about, I'm gonna do my mic here a little bit. Everything that I'm so passionate about with, like, mental health and just well-being, wellness, perfectly was embodied in that movie. It was absolutely awesome. I cannot recommend you to go see Disney's, Pixar's, Inside Out 2 more highly. Like, it was so good. I'm not even ashamed to say that I had tears in my eyes so many times during that movie. Like, within the first couple minutes, and then at the end, oh my gosh, I think I might even just talk about that all day. Like, this whole little segment. Oh shoot, but I don't want my clock. Oh, watch out, this might go a little long, but man, it was so good. That is the power and beauty of powerful storytelling with values, with something to teach and something to share. My hat goes off to Disney and to Pixar for that movie. That was just absolutely awesome, profound, hilarious, but most importantly, true. From like a strictly psychological standpoint, that movie was so spot on about, here, listen. Our emotions don't get to determine who we are. We get to determine who we are. Our emotions are just along for the ride, and we get to, through our emotions, embrace who God has made us to be. Like, it was an incredible movie. I can't recommend it enough to go see Inside Out 2. It was just such a profound depiction of what goes on in our lives, in our hearts, in our spirits, in our souls, our minds, our bodies. Every single day there's this tension, there's this wrestling between anxiety, between fear, between anger, between all these different, shame, between joy. It was such a redemptive, powerful, incredible movie. And the coolest part about that, and the reason why it's so profound, is because it's our day-to-day lives every single day. But that was the, I walked, because I had to leave right as soon as that movie ended. I didn't get a chance to see the credits with, I could hear as I was walking out that there was a couple extra scenes going on. And hey, what's going on, Anna? Great to see ya. Ka, hey, how's it going? Long time no see. She was at the movie with me. Anna, it's great to see you. It's been a long time. I hope you're doing really well. Thanks so much for the shout out. And if you're here and joining, I'd just say hello. You know, let me know where you're from, what you're doing, what's on your heart, what's on your mind. I'm just completely gushing over that Inside Out 2 movie. It is so much. What's going on, brother? From Mexico. How's it going? Great to see you, Aldo. Thanks for joining, man. Means a lot to me, man. It was great to hear your voicemails too when you sent them on Facebook. It's this whole thing that I've been doing for, I think is this the fourth one? I think maybe has been an absolutely incredible experience. So I did this to serve. I don't know about you guys, but I think about often, what's the greatest good I can do with my life? Like, I think about that question a lot. I've thought about that question so much over the course of my life. And so I'm like, man, I really, and I believe that this idea came from God too. That's a whole nother story, because not every idea comes from God. That's a whole nother story. But I really started this in an attempt to serve, right? And in so doing, it has been incredible how blessed I have been in doing that. Like, it has been so cool for me to see, just to reconnect with everybody, to so many different people from different segments of my life, and to hear the struggles, to hear the good, the bad, just what's been going on in everybody's life. So just awesome to have each and every one of you here. Thank you so much for the shout outs. It's so cool to hear from each one of you guys. Thank you so much, Aldo, Ka, Anna, and anybody else joining in. Thank you so much for joining me here, because I tell you what, the most valuable thing you possess in your life is time. It's not even close. Money, you can make more money. Cars, houses, whatever, even relationships. Like, you can develop new relationships, you can build new relationships. you can't get back more time. And so the fact that anybody would spend time on watching my videos here is like such an honor, and I don't take that lightly. And in fact, it's extremely humbling to me to be able to possibly contribute something beneficial during our time. So all that said, thank you so much for joining. Sorry I was a little bit late. Like I said, I was at the movie Inside Out 2. It was absolutely incredible. Brought me to tears multiple times. And most of all, it's because of how accurate that movie is to our day-to-day emotions. Because without giving anything away, the emotions try to take over the person's life, right? And like that's how it is day to day with us. Like I've heard it said that emotions are like the wind, right? It'll come and it'll go. But if you know where you're going and you're a good navigator, you're able to adjust that sail so that even if it's a completely contrary wind, you'll be able to still get to where you're going. But if you don't have a destination and you don't know how to manage the turmoil of emotions, it will absolutely shipwreck you. And that is one of the greatest. I mean, if I could give anything to anybody that would help them so much outside of a relationship with God, because that's the number one thing that turned me from a liability to an asset. Like I was a total, oh man, I was not a good person for a very, very, very long time. Very selfish, very self-centered. But outside of a relationship with God, it would be how to manage the sea and turmoil of emotions, because they're everywhere. And if you don't know what to do with them, so imagine this. Here's a scenario for you. Imagine you sign up for the military and you go to war. You're in Iraq, right? And you get issued a M4 gun, whatever. And you're walking down the streets of Baghdad and you want to go get a piece of pizza, you want to go get some food, and people are shooting at you and you're shocked. Like, what the crap? Why are people shooting at me? Like, what's going on here? And you're surprised that people are shooting at you even though you're in military fatigues, you got your military issued weapon. Like, that's silly. But how much more silly is it for us as humans to have emotions just sweep over us and be surprised every single time that they do? Because I don't know about you, but I've been having emotions ever since I've been really, really little. In fact, when I was 2 years old, I had a whole tidal wave of emotions that I'm still recovering from, and that was in the form of my twin sisters that came in quick succession. And all of a sudden, I went from being this highly esteemed, like celebrated firstborn child to like 1/3. 0.33. In fact, even less, because when you got newborns, it's a lot more to take care of than you have when you're 2, you know? And so ever since we've been babies, ever since we've been in the womb, we've been dealing with emotions. But the question is, what do we do when they come? And that's why I love this Pixar movie so much. The script writers, the screenwriters, the cartoon, like the animators, the people that created that story are my heroes, because they take something that's so fundamental to each and every single human soul on planet Earth, and they tell this story with it, and they make it not only hilarious, they not only make it true, but they make it so that you can relate to it, and then all of a sudden, in relating, you can see yourself just a little bit better. And that's what I love about great cinema. And I'm so grateful for that company. And who, by the way, in case you didn't know, Steve Jobs founded Pixar. He got booted out of Apple and he's like, well, I'll do an animation company. Well, it wasn't quite that simple, but Steve Jobs is behind Pixar. And they, in my opinion, they're some of the greatest storytellers on earth. I think they're absolutely incredible. And that Inside Out 2 movie was a 42 out of 10 for me, because it not only because it embodies so much of what I hope to share on these lives, but because it takes any person at any socioeconomic level, of any gender, of any background, of any religion, anything, and it puts a mirror in front of you that you can relate to and that you can see yourself in so clearly. And then not only that, it shows the tension, it shows the difficulty, but then it shows the solution. It shows the resolution. And I'm not gonna I'm not gonna give it away. But at that climax of that movie, when that kind of like everything kind of came together at that absolute pinnacle point of that movie, I had absolutely tears in my eyes, and I had a 10-year-old next to me and an 11-year-old next to him, and I was just like trying to make sure that they didn't see me, because like I was like, man, wrecked, because Pixar hit it just a freaking bullseye. And I will share what that principle was. And so if you don't want any spoilers, like I don't mind having a movie ruined, because I love the whole theatrical experience. I don't need to be surprised or whatever. So, but if you really are anti-spoiler and you need to be surprised and need to have everything be a novelty, definitely tune out now if you're planning on going to see Inside Out 2, because I'm about to tell you really that pinnacle moment where everything came together that just absolutely wrecked me, because it was so beautiful, it was so accurate, it was so true, and it was so relatable, but it's so applicable. That was the thing that I just love so much, because it's not just entertaining, because we can all be entertained with like slapstick humor or just goofy stuff or whatever, but it was like entertainment with a purpose. And that was the like I said a couple minutes earlier, time is our most valuable resource, and it's not even close. And so when somebody gives you their time, like if you can entertain them, if you can engage them, and you can also bring value to their life, I think that's just awesome. I think that's the pinnacle of pinnacle of entertainment. And I'm not too entertaining of a guy, so I don't really hope to do that here. But I just really appreciate companies that do that so well. And so the real crowning moment of this film, again, if you're not into spoilers, definitely tune out. Just hit pause, and I'll give you an all clear when it's over. Is when all these emotions, dude, it was so good. All these emotions are battling over the control board of this person's life. All of them. And anger, jealousy, lust, this new one, laziness, they're all battling for control over this girl's life. And all of a sudden they realize that none of them have control over who this person becomes. The person gets to choose who they become. Because in the beginning, Joy, who we all love from the first movie, is like, what does she has? She has this saying. She's like, all the good memories we keep and all the bad memories we send way over to the far side of the brain, or whatever they call it. And a lot of times that's what we do as humans, because who wants to dwell on the negative memories? But at the end of the movie, Joy realizes you can't just kick out all the negative memories and pretend they don't exist. They're all a part of who you are, but they don't have to define who you are. And just sit in that. Your emotions are for sure 100% part of who you are, but they don't have to define who you are. All right, end of broadcast. That's all I need to share. Like, I feel like that one thing is sufficient enough, because a lot of times, like, I've heard this saying that our emotions are excellent servants and terrible masters. But it's it's true. But it's so easy because of their power. It's like the wind to be overcome by our emotions, and it's just absolutely to our best interest to recognize what emotions are and what emotions aren't. And what emotions are very, very, very real. Like, we've all been in an emotional state that leaves us crippled. Like, we can't move, or we just absolutely, whether it's fear, whether it's anxiety, whether it's depression, or any of the good ones too. Like, we've been exuberant, we've been so grateful, we've just been overflowing with gratitude, and everything in between. Emotions will come and emotions will go. Emotions are like the wind. But who we are does not. The emotions that we experience in our life do not get a vote as to who we are as a person. I'll say it again. The emotions in our life do not get a vote as to who we are as a person. That is so important, because a lot of people, myself included for the longest time, when we feel something, we believe we are something. But your emotions will lie to you. Like, they are totally, they're here today and gone tomorrow. They're like the wind. And if you don't know that, and you're not prepared for the ferocity of the multitude of emotions that come in the spectrum of human existence, and you'll be overcome, you'll be overwhelmed, and you'll think that you are your emotions, and that is dangerous. On good days, it's great, right? Like everything's wonderful, like the wind's at your back, like this is wonderful. But on bad days, it's crippling, because all of a sudden when you attach your identity and who you are to your emotions, oh, that's dangerous. That is so dangerous. And that's what I love so much about this movie, is because it depicted so well, at the end of the day, your emotions are going to be there, but they don't get to choose who you are. And I could talk about that forever, but our emotions are such a human existence. Like, like animals have emotions, right? But I'm just thinking about, like, could you imagine, like, if there was a squirrel in your backyard, or a bird or whatever, that was just up and down and had all the range and spectrum of human emotions like we do? Like, it would be like its own soap opera, right? But that's a uniquely human experience. Emotions are one of the unique things that make us human. Without them, we're just, might as well be artificial intelligence. We might as well be an automaton, just black and white existence, zeros and ones. But the fact that we have emotions makes us distinctly human, and that can be a really good thing on good days, and it can be a really bad thing on bad days. But it doesn't have to be like that. We get to define our experience as a human, is kind of my point in this. And really what Pixar did so freaking phenomenally. I almost cuss when I see a movie that's so good. Like, I almost want to cuss. Like, I get so excited. And that's what that movie did to me. But we get to define how we interpret the experiences of our life. Period. Full stop. We as humans have a free will, and we get to define the experiences of our lives. We get to attribute value, take away value. We get to make memories and remember memories as we desire them to be. You can have 100 people that have the exact same thing happen to every single person, and have 100 different ways of recollecting that experience. And that's the beauty of a free will, combined with an emotional state, combined with perspective, combined with, like, real living, right? And one of the greatest gifts in anyone wanting to better understand mental health, it's how to attribute value to emotions, to experiences, to who, and to be able to separate who you are as a person from experiences, to be able to separate who you are as a person from emotions. Because if you just think that who you are as a human is just all of the things that have happened to you, all the things you've ever felt, all of that wrapped up into one burrito, like, that's a really problematic situation. Yet, that's what a lot of people do, and that's why so many people are on so many medications, are self-medicating, are depressed, are dejected, discouraged, don't know what to do with their life, and don't know why. And that's one of the greatest things that this film did, Inside Out 2, and one of the greatest things that I believe I could contribute, is to cause recognition to, like, hey, emotions are gonna happen. What did somebody say? Emotions are energy in motion. Like, your thoughts that you think are electrical impulses between synapses that create emotions, but not necessarily all the time. It's kind of a funny thing. That's a whole nother story. But the point is, your emotions don't define you. You get to define your emotions. And the beauty of this movie is, again, spoiler alert, if you're not into spoilers, definitely sign off. But is when the emotions embrace the situation, when the emotions embrace the person. It's not the other way around. The person doesn't embrace the emotions wrap around to the person. And that's the difference between somebody who's driving a car and somebody who's just a passenger. And that's the saying of emotions make excellent servants and terrible masters. Well, yeah, that's a fun cliche, easy to remember. But the point is, are you defined by your emotions, or do you define your emotions? And I had a whole idea of what I was going to talk about tonight, different than what I just said, but I feel like I'm just going to sit on that. Are you defined by your emotions, or do you define your emotions? That's the question we get to ask every single moment of every single day. And emotions are going to come and go. Good emotions, bad emotions. What are we going to do with them? And the illustration that I keep using is that emotions are like the wind. And a good navigator, a good sailor, is going to be able to take whatever wind comes at them and adjust the sail and use, even if it's a completely contrary wind, they're going to be able to use that wind to their advantage if, huge if, they know where they're going, they know who they are. They know that they're a ship, that they know that they have to maneuver the sail, but they also know where they're going. Because here's the thing, my friends. If you don't know where you're going in life, you'll never get there. You have to define where you want to go before you know if you're on the right track or not the right track. What's going on, Alex? Great to see you, man. I don't watch the comments all the time. Maybe I should. Sorry. And yes, Kai, it was one of the best movies ever. 42 out of 10, Inside Out 2. Can't recommend it enough. But awesome to see you, brother. It is so cool to see you, and I love your construction company. Love what you're doing, man. And thanks so much for tuning in. Because like I said earlier in the broadcast, is that our time is the most valuable thing we will ever possess in life. You give somebody that passed away yesterday the opportunity between $10 billion with a B and one more day of living, that's a no-brainer. Give me the day of life any day. And that's why our time is the most valuable thing we possess. And the fact that anybody would watch these videos is so humbling to me. And so I pray with all my heart that they're of value and benefit. And I think that when we're talking about emotions and how to deal with emotions, and the fact that emotions are not good or evil, but that what we define them to be in our life, I think that's so critical. It's like anything else in our life, you guys. Like whether it's money, whether it's artificial intelligence, whether it's the internet, we as humans have been given the absolute privilege and responsibility to define the value of these things. Money's not good. Like there's this quote like that people overuse and it's just abused. It's that money is the root of all evil. That's not even what the Bible says. The Bible actually says it's the love of money. When you're covetous, when you're greedy, when that's all you want is more and more and more. Yeah, that's detrimental to the human condition. That's detrimental to the human soul, for sure. But money could save, could feed a lot of hungry mouths. It could feed a lot of hungry people. Money could provide housing for the poor. Money can do a lot of good in the world. Your emotions can be like a weight that brings you to the bottom of the ocean, or they can be an indicator as to what you're feeling at any given moment that you get to determine, is this a relevant indication? Is this a value that I want to assess and take into account in my life? And so all that to say, my friends, I'm so humbled that you're watching. Thank you so much. Emotions are so powerful. And just for a moment, we all have this amazing gift of imagination, right? And it's so cool. Pixar even hits on imagination in the movie as well. It's so brilliant how they're so good. I was laughing way too loud. In fact, Eli, the 10-year-old next to me, he's like, I think everybody here can hear you laughing. And I said, okay, message received. I got to tone it down a little bit. It was a sold-out theater on a Tuesday night, so that should tell you something. But it was absolutely awesome. But our imaginations. Imagine with me for a second, because this is going to be a little contrary to what you're used to. Most people are used to using their imagination for the negative. Thinking of all the negative things. And there's this incredible scene in Inside Out 2 where this plays out. But use your imagination for a moment to imagine a future where your emotions don't rule you, where your emotions come and go, but who you are as a person doesn't change. Your identity, who who you are as a human doesn't change, your destination doesn't change. Because the thing that throws so many people off, I believe, is that we allow our emotions to determine what's important to us at any given moment. And it's easy to do, because when they come, oh, they're so strong. Like, they wash over us, right? But the question that is the absolute bottom line for all of us: what are we going to do with those emotions? What are we going to do with them? Are we going to say, you emotion are the leader of my life, the ruler of my life? Are we going to say, you, whatever emotion I'm feeling at the moment, is my truth, is my reality, is the most important thing about me? Or are we going to say, hey, maybe our emotion that we're feeling at this particular time is based in a deeper need. Maybe the emotion that we're feeling is rooted and grounded in something way below the surface that we're not even aware of. But maybe it's not. And that's the tricky thing about emotions. Sorry, I can't tell that for you in each and every situation and circumstance. But it's up to us to define our emotions, and not for our emotions to define us. I'll say that one more time because I think it's so important. It's up to us as humans to define our emotions, and not up to our emotions to define us. And if that's the only thing that you receive from this whole video, again, thank you so much for watching. I'm so humbled that you're here. It's so wonderful to see each and every single one of you. It's amazing. I think that the world would be a better place because I see so many people shipwrecked with their emotions. Emotions will come like a wave, and they'll take somebody who's doing really good in life. They finally are starting to feel like some momentum behind them. They finally are feeling successful. Things are going well. They're happy with their life, and all of a sudden these waves of emotion come, and they just will throw you right back to the shore that you came from. And my friends, that's not the way it's supposed to be. Our emotions are real. Our emotions are powerful sometimes more than others. But our emotions do not define us. We get to define our emotions. And so if you're feeling heavy-hearted, if you're feeling depressed, if you're dealing with anxiety, if you're dealing with any sort of negative emotions that seem like it's holding you back, I want to encourage you to do something with them. If you're in a social context, that's a little different. But if you're by yourself, when you're dealing with a lot of really heavy emotions, a lot of times we like to just be by ourselves. We're not going to be out in public. We're not going to be doing a lot of things, right? So if you're sitting with your emotions and you're sitting with something that's really, really heavy and really, really hard, I want you to do something for me. I want you to embrace them. Embrace those emotions for just a moment. Recognize them as true. They're real. They're for sure real. They're present. And maybe they're telling you something about life, or maybe they're telling you something about something you thought about that may or may not be true. And that's the tricky thing about emotions, is because sometimes we can feel, if you're walking along and there's a rustling in the bush and you think it's a person about to attack you, you're going to feel some strong emotions, right? But if it's just a squirrel, you created those small emotions, or those huge emotions in your brain by thinking it was somebody attacking you. It's not truth. We want to base our life, we want to base our living, our decisions, who we are as a person, our identity, in truth. Because if we base them on who we are as a person on emotions, we'll be one way today, another way tomorrow, another way the next day. Depends on whether it's, sales going on at our favorite store or our favorite restaurant. It's Taco Tuesday or whatever, And that's not the way it's supposed to be. But unfortunately, nobody teaches this. And so many people, and my heart goes out to each and every one of you, because I was one of these people, think that life is about emotion and how you're feeling is life. But again, emotions are just like the wind. They're here today and gone tomorrow. And if you don't learn to navigate through life in spite of all the different emotions, the good, the bad, everything in between, it's going to be really, really, really hard. And there are so many people lost at sea right now, and maybe you're one of them, because you react and you respond and you change your life based on the emotions that you're feeling at a time. And so when you're feeling one way, you're going to set your sail in accordance with that emotion. And then when the emotion changes, you're going to set your sail in a different direction. And you never get anywhere because you're just making decisions based off emotions. So again, your emotions make excellent servants and terrible masters. They're going to come, they're going to go, but they don't have to define you. You as a human get to define the experience of your emotions. And hey, sometimes it sucks. Like sometimes it just absolutely sucks. You're feeling so heavy, discouraged, and like you don't want to move. You don't want to do anything. And what I'm asking you to do, as stupid as it may sound, as crazy as it may sound, is to embrace whatever emotion you're feeling. Acknowledge it. Maybe you're feeling pain. Maybe you're feeling remorse. Maybe you're feeling just sadness, like a vague general sadness. Embrace it. Don't run from it. Don't cater to it. Don't allow it to run your life. Just give it a hug and say, okay, I feel this. And if you're able, sit down with it and kind of have a conversation. Sounds weird. Sounds super weird. I get it. But if you're really feeling something super strong, and if you're able to sit down with it and really ask these questions, this is what I want to encourage you to do. Sit with that emotion and really get to the bottom of it the best you can. And the best way that I have ever heard in my entire life to get to the bottom of literally anything is called the 7 whys. You ask the question why 7 times. Okay, so there's this period of our life when we're little where all we do is ask why. And it's obnoxious and it's annoying to our parents and to people answering, but it's essential for us as we learn and grow and develop our understanding of the world, right? And then there's other seasons where the question why is not helpful. For example, why things happen the way they do in life. My friend, maybe I'm the first to tell you, but that is kind of an off-limit question to be asking of serious situations in life. When something really hard happens, something so difficult, specifically death, specifically accidents or injuries or stuff that's just really, really hard, one of the only forbidden questions is why. Because we will almost always never, ever know an actual reason. And so it's kind of an effort of futility to sit and stew at why this, or it could be that, or we don't get to ask that question if we want healing in our own life, if we want to move forward in our life. But if, when we're feeling emotions so strongly and so profoundly, and we're sitting with them, that is a time when we can ask why. And in fact, to ask why 7 times. Because any issue in your life that you ask the question why 7 times, you're going to get to the root of it. No, most of the time you don't even need to get to 7 times. I see the time here. I'm going to wrap things up here. Theo, great to see you, man. I see that you're watching. Oh, man, a whole bunch of people that have come and gone. I didn't even realize this. Wow. Thank you guys so much for joining it. It is so great to see each and every single one of you. I'm so humbled that you would watch. I hope this is helpful. But if I can leave you with one thing before I sign off here, it's that the emotions are going to come and go. Emotions are like the wind. But I want to encourage you to, instead of resisting them, instead of running from them, instead of trying to stuff them, to sit with them. And you're feeling really depressed today? Okay. Sit with that feeling and ask yourself why. Like really sit and wait. I say write it down. I say get a journal. I say write it down. I say if you're really sitting with it, like doing deep work, I call it work. If you're doing deep work like this to try to really get to the bottom of why you're feeling a certain way, I say write it down. I am unequivocal about that. I can't encourage you enough to write stuff down, because it's so cool, because we see ourselves in the mirror every single day, right? But then when you see yourself a month later or 2 months later or a year later, and you look back to those journal entries that you were writing a year ago, and you see all the progress you've made since a year, it is so inspiring. It is so encouraging. It is so uplifting, because it shows you just how far you've come. And I just want to encourage each and every one of you guys, thank you again so much for watching, to sit with your emotions, to not be ruled by them, but to say, hey, are you telling me something that's important right now? Are you because sometimes anxiety is because we're putting off doing things that we really should be doing today. I heard a great quote the other day. Alex Hormozy, he's an awesome, I love this guy. He's a great entrepreneur, cusses sometimes in his broadcast, but less and less lately, which is really cool. But he says the most stressed people are not the successful entrepreneurs. The most stressed people are the people that are putting off things that they know they should do and down the road, and they're not doing them. And that's the thing that causes his anxiety and the stress. But that's just one outcome, one situation of multitudes. Sit down with your emotions. Ask yourself, why are you feeling this certain way? And if it's just this vague sense of like, well, I don't know, it's just maybe the sky is falling, maybe it's just because it's Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, then you get to say to the emotion, okay, thanks for your input, I appreciate the feedback, I'm gonna go on with my life now. And then you get to put your body in motion and just move forward toward whatever goals you have. And if you don't have goals, you got to have goals in every area of your life. Desire is the root of change in life. You need to have a desire, a want, somewhere you're moving towards in life, in every area of life. Otherwise, you're going to perpetually feel like you're on a treadmill. And nobody likes to be on a treadmill. Well, a better example is like a hamster on a hamster wheel. Like you're a lot of motion, but nothing, you're not moving forward. We've been designed to feel the satisfaction of moving forward. And when you don't have goals, when you don't have an objective, when you don't have somewhere you're moving towards, it's super discouraging, because no matter what winds come, you're just blowing here and there and whatever. But if you have a destination, you have your eye on where you're wanting to go, it could be anything. It could be, I want to be happier. I want a better relationship. I want a relationship. I want to feel better about myself. I want a closer relationship with God. It could be anything. But it's so important to have a goal, to have something that you're moving toward, so when these emotions come, you can use them as feedback to process whatever destination and direction you're going with your life. So, with that said, it is an honor. If you don't, that's great, Kai, I appreciate that. If you don't know where you're going, you'll probably end up somewhere else. Great quote. I love that quote. I don't know if you're just coming up with that from your memory, but it used to be one of my Facebook profile pictures from 2011, 2012. I saw it in a gift shop, and I love the quote so much. I had one of our directors take a picture of me with it. He happened to be a photographer, and so I used that picture for a long time. But if you don't know where you're going, you'll probably end up somewhere else. And so, my friends, know where you're going in every area of your life. That's important. Whether it's finances, whether it's friends, whether it's relationships, whether it's your career, your job, your calling, your purpose, on and on and on and on it goes. And hey, guess what? Here's a little secret. If you don't take the time for yourself to think about each of these areas, they're not going to happen magically. You got to take time for yourself to reflect, to think about where you're going, to think about what areas of your life that are going well, and what areas of your life are going not so well. And I have found personally, last thing, if you have kids or relationship or a life, basically the only time you are ever going to get to spend the time needed to think about these greater questions of life, it's in the morning. It's whatever time everybody else gets up, go back 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. I need basically 4 hours. 3-4 hours in the morning. Do I hit it every day? Absolutely not. In fact, recently I've been miserable at hitting that mark. But if I have a quiet time where I'm able to get alone with God, read, pray, journal, reflect, write, read, whatever, there is not one single day where I've had 2, 3, 4 hours of that, where I'm really intentional, doing the work of praying, doing the work of meditating, doing the work of reading the Bible, connecting with God, identifying my greater goals in life. There has not been one single day where I've done that for 2, 3, 4 hours in the morning where it's been a bad day. Not one single time. But I can tell you a whole bunch of days where I miss that, and my day is a disaster. I'm just on defense all day. So I'm guessing that's where a lot of us have been. A lot of us have felt that. You're like playing from behind the whole day. You're just basically on defense the whole day. Not fun. So as a little kind of reminder and encouragement to myself, as well as to you all, take the time in the morning to really assess, where are you? Where do you want to go? Okay? Because once you answer those questions, when the emotions come, and they will come, if you're alive, emotions are coming. And if you don't have any emotions, I don't know if that would be a good or bad thing. Actually, I think that would be a really bad thing. I think that would just make us automatons and computers and zeros and ones, and that takes all the life out of living. Yeah? So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you all so much. I am so humbled and blessed that you guys would stay and hang in here the whole time, and thank you so much for sharing your life, sharing your time with me, and I hope something I've shared is of value. I'd love to hear whether it was or wasn't, if there's something that you'd like me to talk about that you've been struggling with, or something that you've been thinking about that you think might be able to be a benefit to others. I am wide open and so dependent on all of your feedback, because this is a brand new thing for me. I think, like I said, this is the 4th time I've done this. But thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day, and just remember, emotions will come and emotions will go. Emotions don't define you. You as a human get to define your emotions. And Kat, my pleasure, my friend. It's great to see you. Ka, thank you so much. That goes absolutely both ways. So you guys are awesome. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you again so much for watching. See you soon. Bye-bye.